Hello everyone. Today I've got 3 more fantastic indie horror books. These ones are going to grab you right from the beginning of the stories. They're going to shake things up inside your mind and inside your dark little souls, and they're not going to let go until the very end. These are 3 excellent books that you should definitely want to read. And as a reminder, I have horror books for sale. And if you want to read any of the books you see on your screen, they are only $1 each at the link in the description. That link will also be in the pinned comment below as well. And pick up your copy of a Read More Horror t-shirt. Many colors and sizes available. There's a link down below for that also. All right, let's get started. So the first book I want to talk about today is called Children of the Dark. This is an epic, sweeping, coming of age, terrifying creature feature kind of book. It also has a very nasty, horrible serial killer in there. And it takes place in a small town, mainly between 3 best friends. And this book is great because it spends the first half really establishing the world and the characters, especially these 3 friends. We get to know them. We get to see their good sides and their bad sides, and we get to find out all about them. Now, while 2 of them are baseball players and they're kind of really good, none of them are really jocks. But of course, we do have the jocks and the bullies and other people that are going to make up the rest of this group. There's also a couple of first crushes, you know, being that age, 15 years old. Some of these kids have crushes on some of the other girls. We're going to meet them. We're going to find out how all that transpires and everything. But there's also monsters in the woods. Horrifying, terrible, bloodthirsty, very, very hungry monsters. And on top of that, there's an escaped serial killer who may be headed right to their town. Now, this particular serial killer is known for his viciousness. He mainly kills and cannibalizes children. So nobody feels safe once they found out he escapes. It's kind of the talk of this little town. Because from what anybody can tell, he's headed that way. But they're going to have more things to worry about because things are going to be disturbed out in the woods. These 3 friends, they have this tree house in the middle of the woods, and something's going to happen to disturb the things that live underneath. And things are going to become vicious and bloody and brutal as these creatures come from the ground and have to eat. And of course, what they want is human flesh. And nobody in the town is safe, but especially the children. Now, you might be wondering how this coming of age story over here and this serial killer over here and all these monsters over here, what they have to do with one another. And that's the great thing about this novel, is that all these things will come around, they will connect. There are some twists and turns, some things we're going to find out about halfway through that are really going to change how this story progresses and what we think we know about some of these characters already, and what's going on with these horrible creatures. And as it goes along, it just gets faster and faster paced. Like, I love the way this author took his time to establish these characters in the first half, lulling us into a false sense of maybe a slow burn kind of novel, you know, kind of drawing us in and getting us right into that world, right there with these friends and these other characters, and establishing everything we need to know. And then once those twists start happening at the second half, this book becomes like a runaway train down a steep hill without any brakes kind of horror novel. All hell is going to break loose as a serial killer makes his appearance, and we're going to find out something truly horrifying about him as it relates to these creatures. And then, of course, you don't just have 1 or 2 creatures, you have a ton of them. Lots and lots of these creatures that have come from the ground that are muscular, that are tall, that have claws and teeth and green burning eyes, and nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to be safe. This book is going to, it has a pretty high body count, and some of the characters that die are going to be, it's going to come as a shock because we got to know them so well in the first half, and then the way they die, and some of them are going to die in the second half, are just brutal and horrifying. But this is a thrill ride from beginning to end. I just love that slow build up in the first half, and then he unleashes hell upon these characters and us also as the reader, kind of unexpectedly, and I absolutely love that. You know, every story needs to be written the way it needs to be written for the sake of the story. Let's put it that way. And I absolutely love the way this narrative took place. I highly recommend it. Full of scares, full of chills, full of surprises, and you definitely don't want to miss it. And there's a link down below in the description where you can pick up your copy. And next we have Candy Cane Kills. Yes, this one is set around Christmas, but that doesn't mean we can't enjoy it any time of the year, and boy do I recommend this one. This is basically a slasher story set at Christmas time with a family in an almost exclusive cabin, let's say. It's not really around anything. And trying to enjoy a Christmas family vacation. Some things have happened in the family. They feel like they're separating. The talk of divorce is in the air, you know, and then the father decides this would be a good way to get his family back together. He has a wife. They have 2 children, a teenage son and a younger sister. The younger sister has a disease that requires her to walk with the help of a cane. And he decides to take them all to this cabin for a fun-filled family old-fashioned Christmas. But something has happened in that cabin in the past. And the official report is that it was just a fire, and all the family that was living in there, they found the bodies and they were all burned. It was just an accident. Well, we're going to find out that that is not the truth. Not all the family members died. And they all didn't die because of that fire. Oh, they burned up all right. But some horrifying things happened before that fire was set. And whoever did it might still be lurking around that cabin, might still be lurking in the basement of that house. And they're just waiting for somebody to enter their territory. And when they do, like this family, all bets are off. Like I said, this is a slasher novel, so yes, there's going to be the appropriate amount of blood and gore and horrifying moments as whoever this is makes themselves known. But like any good slasher, there is also going to be a twist in there, and we think we know the whole story as it progresses about who this is and what their motivations are. But then something's going to change, and we're going to find out that might not be true. Some very horrific things have happened in that house, and we're going to be privy to all of it as it goes on. And there's also a secret that has to do with the sheriff in that town, and that'll just prove that you really should not trust anybody in a small town where a massacre has taken place, because you might not be safe. Yeah, this is another one of those just fun-filled, gory thrill ride of a slasher book. And I had a lot of fun with it. It's not going to take you long to read, but it's excellent, and I absolutely loved it and highly recommend it to you. And again, you can find the link for your copy in the description. And next, we have a pre-order book. This one's coming out early next month, and you should definitely pre-order this one. It's called One Must Go. Now, the last book was set at Christmas. This one is set on Halloween. And I don't know about you, but I would sacrifice almost any other holiday of the year for a second Halloween. So again, there's no wrong time to read any of these books despite their setting. And this one is perfect for any time of year. And One Must Go is the story of a group of kids and an old god. This god presents himself as almost like a Santa Claus figure, a jolly old elf. He's tall and he's got a big bushy beard, and he's always got a steiner of beer in his hand, and he's excuse me, he's always laughing and joking and making fun. But he also plays a game every year, and the game is very simple. He picks 3 kids every Halloween, and they must choose to sacrifice one of them to this god before the stroke of midnight. And if they don't, they will all be sacrificed. And not only them, but perhaps their loved ones and families as well. And this year, we have our 3 main characters. They get chosen to make this decision, which one is going to be sacrificed. And while this creature's pets, I guess you can call them, are chasing them down, it becomes apparent that they are not going to have any rest until they make that decision. Otherwise, they are all going to die, and nobody else might be safe if they don't choose. And all 3 of these characters are very different from one another. But there's a character named Sam, and Sam might be a bit of a psychopath. And he's really the only one willing to sacrifice both of them if need be, and more people just for shits and giggles, as long as it means he gets to live and survive. But as they are hunted down by these creatures, things, and as Sam starts losing his mind and the other 2 realize they are not safe from him as well, and they have to make decisions on how they're going to get away. Is there any way to break this curse? Is there any way to get out of this deal? Things are going to get way tense, and things are going to get very, very frightening as they just have to figure out, should they sacrifice someone? Should one of them sacrifice themselves? Should one of them volunteer to be the victim to save the others? But Sam has other things in mind, and this creature definitely has other things in mind, and you're going to have to read about it to find out how it all plays out. But I really, really love this story. It gave a whole new twist on those Halloween killer vibes, you know, because this is not just a regular serial killer. This is a creature, a god, who's doing it for his own amusement and entertainment. And even though he seems like a right jolly old elf, I guess you can say, even though it's set on Halloween, I know I'm mixing up my holidays, but that's all right, because that's what he seems like to me, you know, like a jolly old Santa Claus type of character. But despite that, he doesn't care. He's doing this for his entertainment and his amusement, and the rules must be followed, and that sacrifice has to be made by midnight no matter what. Otherwise, they are all in danger. And I think you'll really love this one. It builds up the suspense. We get to see the unraveling of this kid named Sam and how vicious and brutal he can get. There's going to be a lot of characters we meet there that are going to be killed in different ways because of this game they're playing. But you have to read about that to find out. I'm not going to give too much away. But you'll absolutely love it. I know I did, and I highly recommend it to you. And as always, there's a link down below where you can pick up your copy in the description. And as always, I want to say thank you for taking some of your time and spending it here with me. And until we meet again, keep reading spooky, my friends.